Yeah.
What does this say? Oh, there you go. Welcome back to, wait, our faces aren't there. There they are. We're in Afton's place. It's obviously, it's a place.
It's a setup, I think.
It's really here. So Afton, show me your chair.
Yeah, a tactical chair. Take the back out, you know? You don't have to go around to get on the chair. You can just step through.
We did that on purpose.
Yeah, definitely on purpose. It definitely didn't just fall through the back of my chair. That would not happen.
Yeah. So we're gonna shoot ourselves later.
For legal reasons, that's a joke. Maybe.
So there's not a lot of news to talk about. There's obviously Avengers was delayed. We kind of expected that. We didn't know for sure if it was gonna happen. Marvel's done a really good job the years past of like when they set a date for something and they put it out. You know, the only exception being, of course, COVID, right? That kind of delayed some stuff. But in general, when they had announced something publicly, you know, they've kind of kept the schedule, they've kind of kept the release, and they've done whatever it takes to get it out, right? Lots of editing, lots of reshoots. I mean, half the time they go into these projects without a finished script, right? And they delayed it almost 6 months. It was about 6 months, right? Because it was supposed to come out. Oh no, that would be about 6 months. Because it went from May to November, so that's right about 6 months actually. And the same thing for Secret Wars. So Secret Wars was supposed to come out pretty much exact same time following year, so May 2027, and they both got delayed 6 months back. So we'll see how that affects things. I think it's probably a good thing. It obviously sucks because that means we're going to go at least a year without a project, because Spider-Man is still coming out in June or July of next year. But that means we don't have anything in the meantime. So that's a little unfortunate, but I think it still works. Supposedly Spider-Man's kind of been changed around, that for the longest time we thought it was supposed to be like a in-between movie, but it's not. It's more of a prequel, more of a this is what's going on right as these events are going on, kind of similar to like Ant-Man and the Wasp, right? Maybe even more similar to something like Captain Marvel, right, where it's like showing some special events and special things that are going to be prevalent in the Avengers movies. So that's cool, but it also kind of sucks. You know, Marvel's in a bit of a tough spot with their projects not being very successful. You know, they're a little bit worried about Fantastic Four. They put out some pretty early, you know, screenings, right? Public screenings, and not even like the complete movie or anything. Like, it's still, you know, they're showing what's shot but without the special effects, essentially, right? Without the video effects. Which just means like they're really trying to get word out there. They're really trying to get, you know, an idea of what to expect. And it makes sense. I mean, while Thunderbolts was a great movie and it was critically acclaimed, it wasn't very successful in the box office, right? It's still not, and it's probably not going to make, you know, it's not going to make a profit, right? Everyone's like, 188 or something like that is what the budget is. That's what the budget is for the movie, shooting it, production-wise. That's not what the budget is for media and promotion-wise. And you kind of have to double that, right? Especially for something like Thunderbolts, right? Thunderbolts was promoted massively, right? Especially after the premiere, right? A lot of the times when a movie's shown, they don't do much promotion after, right? They'll do a little bit, but not much. They kind of kept the hype train going with, you know, the new Avengers thing and all of that, and going and changing billboards and signs. Like, that's a lot of money, right? So this movie's, I think, like 388 or something like that, right? So it's probably not going to make money. And the movie's great, right? It's critically acclaimed. It's one of the highest rated Marvel movies ever, not just recently, ever. So it's an interesting time for Marvel because they have some interesting stuff. You know, a lot of the screenings for Fantastic Four, people who, you know, saw it, a lot of them were excited for it. A lot of, you know, hype built around it, especially for some of the end credit scenes that were shown. But it does make you wonder, you know, how long can this go? It's interesting. It's the world we live in now. Hollywood's a weird spot because movies just aren't what they used to be. The box office in cinema isn't what it used to be, right? COVID and streaming changed everything. COVID kind of quickened the pace of changing Hollywood and the space around it. And, you know, Marvel was revolutionary, but it's still part of the train, right? Hollywood, the movie industry, the film industry, Marvel's still part of that. While it takes up a big chunk of it, it's still part of that space, and it's, you know, it's no exception to the changes that are coming. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got a little excited. Captain America: Brave New World coming out. I'm like, this is gonna be awesome, and it wasn't amazing. But Thunderbolts is nobody's watching the movie and saying it's bad. Of course, there's always those people, but very few people are watching the movie being like, oh, I don't like this. I hate this movie. Pretty much no one's saying that. So I don't know how long. I think Sammy said it too. I don't know how long it's going to take for the train to catch up to itself, or whatever analogy you want to use. But if Marvel movie is good, I mean, I want it to reflect good on the studio, because I want them to keep making those good projects. I want to keep seeing these awesome things on the big screen. But if they put all the time, effort, make a great plot, make a great movie, great special effects, and they don't even like actually break even or doesn't hit whatever their target is, they're gonna have to try something else. And I don't want that, because Thunderbolts is great. I loved it.
It kind of coincides with the delays for Avengers, because, you know, lots of reports and rumors. Kevin Feige hasn't been that present. He's, you know, like the head honcho, essentially, right? He's in charge of what goes in the movie, when it comes out, what it leads to, what its predecessor was, all that stuff, right? He's, you know, what George Lucas was for Star Wars and the Star Wars universe, what Kathleen Kennedy is now for Star Wars, that's what Kevin Feige is. And he wasn't that present for the last couple of years. He was and he wasn't, right? Part of the problem the last couple of years was there was so much coming out, multiple movies, multiple projects, right? And Kevin Feige had his nose in each one of these projects, and so he could never really give his undivided attention. You know, we've been here for a while. They're going to slow this pace down. This is the last kind of big batch of like the stuff that they've recorded back in that, you know, anything can pass kind of era, right? And now we're seeing, you know, next year there's only supposed to be one or two projects, movies, and there's only supposed to be like one or two shows, right? So we can see that's kind of why they're probably starting to delay, slow things down, because they want to get it right now. And we can see like Thunderbolts is a good indication. Fantastic Four so far is a good indication that they're trying to slow things down, right? They're trying to make quality over quantity, which, you know, that wasn't the perception before. And you can see that they're starting to change, right? At least with the movies and the delays of whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see how Marvel does. You know, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for Fantastic Four. I you know, when it comes to the Marvel comics, Fantastic Four are really cool, but sometimes they're too much, right? Part of the reason I'm not a big DC guy is because they're too mythical. They're too just extravagant sometimes, right? The stories get too big, the ideas get too big, and it can get confusing. You can get lost in the mythos, right? That's part of the reason I've always been a huge Avengers fan before the movies, right? And I totally mean that, right? I always was. I was always a big Captain America fan. That was just always my day one guy. And Wolverine and Spider-Man. But that being said, like, while Fantastic Four sometimes can be a lot to handle, it's always been one of the Marvel's most popular comic lines. It's always been one of the more popular character teams. And, you know, I would like to assume that, like, maybe they're not as popular as the Avengers right now, but they've got a lot more say and a lot more hearsay and name popularity and notoriety than, you know, the Thunderbolts, right? Thunderbolts are a relatively new idea. They didn't really do a lot in the comics up until like 2008, 2009, and even after that they didn't do much. They're just a kind of a new idea. So the idea of bringing Fantastic Four is like bringing the idea of X-Men. Right? X-Men are a pretty big part of Marvel, and a lot of fans enjoy them. A lot of people know who the X-Men are, right? Everyone knows who Wolverine is, right? And the X-Men, right? Charles Xavier, Cyclops. A lot of people know who the Fantastic Four is. So just on name recognition, it's going to be big, but also because if Thunderbolts is an indication that they're playing quality over quantity, I think we can see an improvement off of Thunderbolts, right? Some quality. People are going to be willing to give the next one a try because they heard the last one was pretty good, and these characters are a lot more popular. So think Marvel's moving in the right step forward. Unfortunately, something that's not going to help them is all of the projects they're trying to get out. All the projects and stuff that they shot and edited and got ready over the last couple of years, like Ironheart, Eyes of Wakanda, Marvel Zombies, Wonder Man. Like, these are projects that were like kind of everything goes, and that's when these ideas sprouted, and they've kind of been sitting around waiting around. And they're like, well, we got to get them out eventually, and they're just putting them all out at once, which is not going to help them either. But Disney Plus in general, hasn't really been a success. So I don't know how much it's going to hurt the brand either. We'll see. Either way you look at it, it's an interesting time to be a fan of Marvel, an interesting time to be a fan of like cape stuff, right? Superman's coming out, and that's pretty much going to be the focal point of success or failure for the DC universe, right? Everything's kind of counting on that. If Superman fails, it's kind of hard to see the rest of that universe expand, right? Because it's just so new, and they've had so many failures in the past. A restart doesn't necessarily mean everyone's going to be on board. So it's all kind of leaning on Superman. So interesting stuff there. Star Wars, there's really nothing new. No big updates or anything like that. So anything else you wanted to hit on after them?
No, not really. I mean, I'm going to laugh at something I found at DC. They made the trailer for the Superman, the teaser trailer, a while ago. And this one specific scene, some dude threw like a coffee cup or something at Superman, and he flinched. And people were like, he's Superman, why would he flinch? That's so stupid. Right? And DC knows that there's a lot riding on this, and whatever decision that went through their head, they decided to make it so he didn't flinch. So in the next trailer, he didn't flinch. And the funniest thing I thought was when everyone is like, why didn't he flinch after that? It's like they can't win. But they're at least listening to people for, that minor thing. I mean, who knows if they actually are. That's something that they were looking at anyways. But I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of the DC movies. My favorite DC, series, whatever you want to call it, was the Batman Begins and Dark Knight. That trilogy right there is one of my favorite superhero trilogies I've ever watched. But yeah, I hope it goes good just for them, in the words of Wilson Fisk, a rising tide raises all boats.
Yeah, I can't swim, so that's really it. We'll see. Keep an eye out for new video ideas. We're trying to open up, right? Star Wars sucks right now. They're going through stuff, like it's been reported. They're trying to figure out where they want to go for it, right? It's obviously we keep going back and forth. Kathleen Kennedy's gone. She's not gone. She's gone. She's not. But it's very obvious, no matter what, like how long she's going to be there is up for debate, right? Like she's not going to be there for 3 or 5 more years, right? Like 3 years at the most, but probably a year or two, right? Who's next, right? We don't know yet, right? That's also probably up in their debate. What's coming out, right? What can Kathleen greenlight and what can she not? So there's a lot of turmoil behind the scenes, a lot of big stuff they're trying to get out, and that's gonna Ahsoka, the Mando movie, the movie with Ryan Gosling. These are projects that are gonna have big indications on Star Wars, but nothing's coming out soon. I think some of the nearest stuff is something like the Mall show. I think that comes out later this year, but that doesn't come out until later. And while I am excited for that, we've got months and months until then, right? We don't have anything else really until then. So it's going to be kind of hard to cover Star Wars with anything new. There's cool Lego stuff coming out, but, we can only do so much. And while we do love the Lego here, it's, we're not going to just do Lego. We got to do other stuff as well. So I'm thinking about introducing comic stuff, like comic read-alongs. While the Marvel movies and DC movies maybe aren't having a lot of success right now, I would like to say that still true to my heart is the nerd source, right? The comics, the stories, where they originated from, and I would love to still keep sharing that stuff because that stuff is cool. A lot of that stuff's forgotten easily. So I would love to keep sharing that. Like I said, read-alongs. If you guys have any ideas of what you wanted to do, I wanted to probably start with House of M because I think that's, House of M, Civil War. You can argue about some of the 2 biggest story points where it kind of shifts the Marvel universe to a new space. So those are 2 stories I'd like to cover and just literally read along. But let us know what you guys want in the comments. If you guys want something different, if you guys want commentary rather than read along, or what. We've got some fun DIY IRL stuff we're gonna do. I would like to bring back streams. We've been both like super busy. I know we keep saying we want to bring back streams, but we've been both really busy. I started a new job. Athen forgot his helmet. You know, it's really hard to do stuff in real life when we're both really busy. So we're gonna bring it back. It's just a matter of time, a matter of effort, and yeah, we're gonna keep doing other stuff, reviews and whatnot. But just keep an eye out for new fun ideas, new fun videos. Yeah. Anything else, Afton?
I think that's it.
All right. Afton Smells Bad. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit us up next week, same time, Thursday around 6 p.m. And until then, we'll see you guys.